This may be the most stressed I've been at the movies in a long time. And it's not even a horror movie. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions. Today I'm going to give you my review of The Drama. Directed by Christopher Borgli, The Drama stars Robert Pattinson as Charlie and Zendaya as Emma, a young couple just 1 week away from their wedding, wrapping up final preparations and getting ready for their big day. But when they drunkenly decide to confess to the worst things they've done in front of their best man Mike, played by Mamoudou Athie, and his wife, the maid of honor Rachel, played by Alana Haim, Emma reveals a devastating secret, one that throws their entire relationship into question and threatens to derail the whole wedding altogether. I was sold on this movie the second I saw the trailer. Not because of Robert Pattinson, not because of Zendaya, not even because Daniel Pemberton was doing the score. No. I was sold because of the director, Christopher Borgli. I never got around to seeing Dream Scenario, and I regret that because I've heard great things about it. But I did see Sick of Myself, a film about a woman so desperate for attention and empathy that she takes drastic, self-destructive measures to get it.
Not a great plan.
That movie completely blew me away, and it ended up one of my favorite movies of 2023. It's on my top 10 horror movie list of that year. So yeah, seeing Borgli's name attached to this made me very interested. And man, did that interest pay off.
That's a good movie.
Right from the jump, you can feel Borgli's style all over this movie, especially in the editing. It's incredibly dynamic, constantly blending flashbacks, reality, and even the characters' imagined scenarios. Not only does this put you directly into the mentally exhausted headspace of our leads, but it also keeps you questioning what you're seeing the entire time. And that plays perfectly into the film's tone. Dry. Like, aggressively dry.
Just a little dry, it's fine.
This thing leads hard into cringe comedy and tension, to the point where by the end of the first act, the entire audience is going to be clenched. Because there's a twist. And it's a big one, but instead of saving it for the ending or the second half like most other films would, The Drama decides to pull the rug out by the end of the first act. The movie starts off feeling like this breezy, realistic romantic comedy, and then it completely flips the script in a way that genuinely caught me off guard.
Are you serious? I'm sorry.
Order an Uber.
Emma, what the?
Now, I've seen some people say that the twist feels like it was thrown into the film just to provoke or stir up controversy.
Stanley knows what I'm talking about.
That's not what a hate crime is.
Well, I hated it.
And I get why they'd feel that way, but for me, it just works. I saw it as the match that lights the powder keg, and from there, you're basically just watching this couple's lives unravel. And let me tell you, it's stressful as hell, but also incredibly entertaining and very darkly funny. Because Borgli doesn't just settle for a straightforward drama. I don't think he knows how to. He turns this into a full-on satirical black comedy, and it works brilliantly in my opinion. Yeah, some might find it tasteless because of the subject matter.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
But I thought the writing was sharp, witty, and absolutely weaponizes cringe in the best way possible. And a lot of that comes down to Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. Their chemistry here is fantastic, and their comedic timing fits perfectly alongside the darker themes of the story. They carry this movie with a portrayal of a couple that feels uncomfortably real. The stress, the tension, the awkwardness, the forced smiles when they're around other people. It all feels authentic. And honestly, it's one of the more believable on-screen relationships that I've seen in a long time. And yet, despite all of that, the cringe, the tension, the dark subject matter, I walked out of this feeling weirdly hopeful.
I don't get it!
Which surprised me, because for a good chunk of this movie, it really feels like there's no coming back from that twist reveal. Like, whatever love was there, at least from Charlie's point of view, is just kind of disappearing. And Borgli lets you sit in that discomfort. He makes you feel everything. Confusion, anxiety, frustration, even straight up anger. Shout out to Alana Haim as Rachel, who might be the MVP of absolutely bitchy supporting characters that I've seen in a while.
I hate you.
But then the film evolves. It becomes less about the shock of what happened and what comes after. It turns into a study of forgiveness, of the love it takes to move forward with someone after your entire perception of who they are has changed. Now, I really can't talk more about this movie without circling back to the performances, because across the board, they're fantastic. Robert Pattinson absolutely kills it here, swinging between manic, spiraling anxiety, and this almost desperate sweetness that keeps Charlie feeling incredibly human, even when he's at his worst.
You're messed up, dude. God.
Zendaya, on the other hand, becomes such a crucial source of this film's tension. You can feel Emma's discomfort in almost every scene, this constant undercurrent of fear and unease that never really lets up, and it adds so much to the overall anxious feeling of this film. Alana Haim, wow. She gives a brilliant performance as Rachel, someone who is a genuinely terrible friend.
First love or your first crush?
Both, I think.
Wait, is that insane?
At 30?
Completely self-righteous, convinced she's morally superior, yet refuses to take accountability for anything. She is infuriating in the best way. And Mamoudou Athie as her supposed rock and center, Mike, yeah, he does a pretty terrible job at that, and I think that's exactly the point. He plays that passive, enabling energy perfectly, and it makes their dynamic all the more frustrating to watch.
You're all terrible people.
Behind the camera, the cinematography by Arseny Kakachturan is absolutely incredible. It does such a great job amplifying the anxious nature of this film with tight zooms, intense close-ups, and this almost restless, shaky camera that makes it feel like the movie itself is building up this panic just like the characters are. And then you've got Daniel Pemberton's score, which also fits this movie perfectly. It's very minimalistic, but in a way that constantly adds to the tension here, leaning heavily on woodwinds, flutes, and sharp staccato percussion that almost feels like it belongs in a horror movie. And honestly, that's kind of what this becomes, a horror movie about relationships. Now, as much as I love this film, it's not without its issues. I do think that Emma is kind of underwritten as a character. It sometimes feels like she's more defined by her twist than who she is as a person, especially since so much of this film is spent seeing how Charlie reacts to everything.
I'm freaking out, man.
And while I personally vibe with the tone shifts, I can see them being very jarring for some people. This movie jumps between dark comedy, drama, and straight up discomfort pretty aggressively. But even with these small flaws, this thing blew me away. Christopher Borgli delivers a sharp, uncomfortable, and often hilarious dark satire that somehow manages to be cynical and deeply hopeful at the same time. It's stressful, it's cringe-inducing, it's gonna push a lot of mainstream audiences away, but if you're on its wavelength, this is a wildly rewarding experience. And that's my review of The Drama. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know if you saw this movie, and I will see you next time for my review of Faces of Death.